and bans out the Akai, and that actually kind of covers the only two jungles that we've seen Nightmare go. So maybe right now FireFlux read that and are trying to force Nightmare to kind of push past what they've shown us already. Maybe just because this is what they've seen already, this is what they've been able to scout, and they're going to try to move forward from there. You do see that Nightmare Esports going to go ahead and focus down on that marksman lane now that they've already picked up Claude. It does look like they are trying to force out the carry, maybe trying to like as we've been saying, carry big pick rate, but just has not been able to capture that win rate, sitting at about like 20% right now. But they're going to go ahead and pick it up. FireFlux very confident in their ability for it. The only problem sometimes I see with a carry is that she really shines. She's built specifically for those tanks, for those heavier hitters, those ones that are a little slower, because her range is not exactly the largest and the longest. So when you have other abilities or people or characters on the enemy team like Claude, like Valentina, like Cece, who can kite you away or who can close the distance on you very quickly, it might prove a little bit of a problem, especially if you don't have a front line, which is what I'm going to probably be looking for Nightmare Esports. And yeah, we have one right there with a Grok, who actually, I want to say this is probably the third time that we have seen him here in the games of the future.
Well, the Grok is a really decent pick, but the Dairoth here as a jungler is pretty much fitting in this trap somehow, because playing on the physical defenses of your enemy and also seeing that they have a really decent amount of HP that he can easily melt down like the Brats, and also on the other hand, now they didn't use a tank that can apply crowd control. They have summoned the one and only Estes. The Blacklist International Special is here. So they want to play on the sustainability, which is really good actually. Having that Brats, they can make a really decent combo in the mid lane. He can also make up for this range for carry to join in without fearing of losing her own HP. So the Estes pick is really good, but once the Estes is targeted out, I think it's gonna be really hard. And also, there's something I want to add here. Novaria is one of those mid laners that can move freely throughout the game in the mid lane clearance and everything else, but Estes isn't. So I would expect to see Estes being used as, we say it like that, babysit the gold lane.
Yeah, I expect him to I expect the Estes to be riding right behind Barats on Detna right now, because as you said, the mid right now, Novaria, very mobile, so not really going to be benefiting from a lot of the healing if they are keeping a proper distance from the fight. Novaria has one of the longest ranges of any of the mages here, able to use those astral spheres from a huge distance to do a ton of damage onto them. But ladies and gentlemen, we are about to see game one of Nightmare Esports taking on FireFlux. Right now, this series going to decide which one of these teams moves on ahead and which one will be going home.
Well, right now we can see FireFlux Esports on the right-hand side with the red team, with the second pick, and also with a really different kind of draft, the one that I was used to see. Apex47 not using his crowd control heroes and applying and making the Estes here, like making his way through with that Estes here. Also, I think this is the first time seeing an Estes in the tournament. Apex47, Rosa in the mid lane facing Suso, and also Jasmine. It's gonna be really tough for Rosa to stand up against two in his lane, in the mid lane, because Grok will always clear out this wave really fast with using the first skill. On the jungle, there hasn't been any kind of force or any kind of invade whatsoever. Alien and Jack. I think this is gonna be a really interesting XP lane, since both of these picks are actually banned heroes.
Oh, actually, Alan gonna get caught here, is trying to dash himself to safety. You can see Ben just sitting there waiting to put on the damage, and unfortunately for FireFlux Esports, that's gonna be a first blood for Nightmare, but they're gonna go ahead and try to make Jasmine pay for it. You can see he's down to about 10% health. A flicker used by Rosa, still trying to get the auto attacks, and he decides his fate shall need to be decided by a tower.
Oh my god, he made it personal. Rosa made it personal with Jasmine. He did use his flicker just to get that kill secured for FLUX Esports, and right now they will be in advantage for taking that first turtle, but they have to make sure that too easy for Lexi isn't able to reach that retribution though.
Yeah, you see Lexi actually able to come in there from the side, snatch that away from FLUX. You just talked about it, and that was unfortunate too because you had Rosa trying to teleport home, Alien wasn't there yet, and you had 4 members from Nightmare over there trying to press their advantage and get that frustration out of FLUX, and it paid off as they were able to steal away that turtle.
Using that Grok to annoy the junglers is a really good tactic, but when it comes to assassin junglers, here seeing a utility jungler such as the Barats, I think it's gonna be really hard for Jasmine to be annoying as he thinks he can be, but Tennessee uses the ult.
Yeah, Jasmine is going to have to use that wild charge to get himself back to safety. A wall is actually going to split up the FLUX. He has been absolutely, actually very surgical with with all of the walls he's been using here. Once before to go ahead and isolate and keep that buff very close so that he could try to steal it, and then just isolating it so that Apex gets separated from his herd and almost actually in a little bit of trouble there. But thankfully they're able to still keep it at 1-1 apiece.
Well, I think I would take a little bit back of what I said, saying that the Grok wasn't as successful as it needs to be after seeing the gap between both junglers. But here, he's trying to farm both lanes with the Claude, and going back to my point, I was saying that look at the XP gap when it comes to Tennessee, and also on the other hand, for Too Easy to Lexi, he was level 7 while Tennessee was level 5, moving around the map with the 2-man combo. Tennessee and also Apex47 are making sure that their team are getting the help they need in any lane they are asking for. Well, there is something that's really quite interesting that I've mentioned yesterday, and it goes like this. If you made a mistake with an assassin hero as a jungler, it's so hard to recover, but if you made a mistake while using a utility hero as a jungler, it's not that hard to recover.
Yeah, and that's true, especially when it comes to like assassins and stuff. Well, we do have a match coming, or a little bit of a fight coming here. Jasmine does get popped up. Detna's welcome. It's going to spit him back out. Lexi able to find another secure onto the turtle. And I just want to say the rotations right now from Nightmare have been so good, especially because Jasmine has been doing such a great job on this bin, making sure that he can refuse farm to the marksman up at the top, and both marksmen have now switched down to the bottom. And I think we're going to start seeing it in the gold discrepancy between Sunshine and Kami.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And looking at Too Easy for Lexi 2 times in a row, using his ultimate, the one that got a little bit of adjustment in the latest patch, not being able to be cancelled. But looking here, they want to get the kill on the CC.
Yeah, Jack in a little bit of trouble here, putting on the damage. Is going to go ahead and try to create that distance. Whoa. Getting a lot, activates the Vengeance, but it's not enough to save him from 3 members of FLUX, and this is going to be the first tower of the game.
On the other side though, NIIGHTMARE Esports are trying, and they did make that trade possible. Yes, they lost one of their members, but they took the bot lane. Too Easy for Lexi, applying some damage.
Yeah, and you can see here Jasmine in a little bit of trouble, gets popped up, and he is not long for this world as Rosa finds a kill there. The blessing of the Moon Goddess from Apex, able to keep the entire team healed and topped up through that fight. 1-3 in favor of FLUX from Turkey.
After switching between both laners on the XP and the gold lane, I didn't see that much of a use for carry, especially because they gave all the resources, FLUX Esports, towards the top lane and taking CC down and taking her turret down. But on the other hand, they have lost the only turret that actually can save carry from any invade. So maybe, just maybe, we might see another switch between those two. But speaking of which, and now looking at the timer, we have 6 minutes and 30 seconds almost into the game, and the second turtle has respawned.
Yeah, and we can already see, I was talking about the gold discrepancy that we were going to be seeing. Carry sitting 1K behind the Claude. Cammy doing such a good job. Now we have the turtle fight here. Half health. FLUX trying to zone up. A Nightmare coming in. Big final slash lands, and Lexi able to get another turtle. A final Final Slash is out with the blessing of the Moon Goddess to keep the team healed up, and they are trying to give chase, but the mobility of Nightmare is too much.
5-man pushing in the mid lane against just 2 from Team Nightmare Esports. And looking here, Alien might just take it. They do withdraw and they do go to their own laning duties. It seems like it's really too easy for Lexi to take all of these turtles.
Oh man, you can see that damage coming out from Sasul, and I do believe I saw an Abyssal Strike come out there from Lexi, which was able to take Tenzi down. I mean, even it doesn't matter how tanky you are, especially with how that Lexi is going to be able to burst through a lot of the armor with that Dairoth.
So far, we haven't seen a Flicker Final Slash, one of the classics that our Lord can provide to us. And 60 seconds into, and the Lord will respawn, the first Lord of the game, but it seems like there will be a lot of pressure on the top lane. There might be a surprise coming from Jasmine. Nope, there's no surprise. They just made sure that FLUX Esports knows that they are claiming that turret, and that turret is what they have got. In the mid lane, they are still trying to apply some pressure. FLUX Esports are seeking solutions, even though the game, when it comes to numbers, almost seems even, but 3-2 with 3k behind when it comes to gold.
Ooh, Detna's welcome does land. Tenzi does spit him out. Lexi gets taken out very quickly. Now, the one thing for me is that this Ubi strat of healing up your team and like keeping them grouped up is working for FLUX. However, it doesn't matter if your team is not landing these retributions. If you're starting to get out gold, like right now, most of the objectives have been going over to Nightmare Esports. Lexi just doing such a great job of getting in there and being able to snatch those objectives away from FLUX Esports to the point where they're actually behind, despite how well they're doing in some of the team fights.
FLUX also, speaking of team fights, we might see a team fight being forced here, just using the Lord as an excuse for them. FLUX and also Nightmare are preparing to go into that Lord pit, and as you said earlier on today and in the draft, the Lord range is now so much smaller than it used to be before, so there is no Lord dances that can last long, only claiming that either zoning the enemy completely out or wanting to take that Lord with a fast, with applying all the damage and all the resources of your team to take it as fast as possible. Speaking of being fast as possible, we can see here that the Cloud already have his Demon Hunter Sword, the Golden Staff, and everything he needs for the early game damage. And looking at the carry, she's 1.5k behind just from the Cloud.
Yeah, this Lord actually might go over. They're going to try a big pop-up. Lexi gets the Lord another objective for Nightmare Esports. The pride of Lausch giving it to FLUX right now. You can see that blazing duet going into the back lines. Kami finds a kill onto Alien. Tenzi gets taken down by Jack, and Kami still is not done. He is hungry for blood. Apex goes down. That is 4 members down for FLUX Esports as Nightmare taking it to the mid tower. Let's take a look at that replay. Look at the big pop-up that's going to happen, or actually this is after the Lord fight, as they continue in there. That blazing duet shredding them from behind. Kami takes 1 kill, but he's not done. He focuses down Apex as he tries to get to the safety of the tower.
A huge miscommunication happening between Alien and Tennessee in the previous moment in the recent replay. Both of them were affected by CC's ultimate, and both of them didn't move together, so they both went down. And not just that, they lost the Lord, so all the retribution battles have been won by too easy for Lexi. And not just that, they also won the team fight by almost wiping out FLUX Esports, taking everything that could possibly be taken for them. All the secondary turrets are down, and the mid lane inhibitor turret is also affected and already without its own passive. So far, even though Private, the game is, again, when it comes to kills, it's even. But when it comes to strategy, so far Nightmare Esports is winning. Why do you think they are the one in control? Is it just because of the retributions?
It's not just the retributions. It's the fact that FLUX Esports, when it comes to a lot of these fights, Nightmare knows exactly what they need to do. They charge in at the right time. You have the Jasmine comes in with that charge as well to pop up right at the moment that you're supposed to be retrying, and then you have Lex coming in with the Abyssal Strike and the Retribution to try to double his odds. You have the entire team working in fast with the jungler to make sure that once it gets to the point where you're supposed to be retrying, they're doing everything they can to push away, stun, pop up TNZ to give Lexi the best opportunity he has to be able to get those retributions.
And looking at, ooh, they did?
Yeah, Detna's welcome comes out here. Jasmine in a little bit of trouble, down to about 10%. He's gonna have to use that wild charge to get himself away, and gets away safety.
Whoa, that was so close. I almost thought that he's out of the range of Tennessee, but looking at the itemization from the side of NIGHTMARE Esports, I've just saw that they already have the Sea Helper, also the Necklace of Durance and the Dominance Eyes. They are completely taking down the healing effect from FLUX Esports, and right now seeing that second Lord spawning in the Land of Dawn, the first enhanced Lord in this game, and the one that can make a huge effect if it have been taken by NIGHTMARE Esports. If they did win this retribution battle, if even they lost the Lord but got the team fight, they might just end this game while they are hot.
Well, the thing is here too is on the side of a NIGHTMARE Esports, you have Sisol who can come out with a final slash of their own because they can steal it. Jasmine has the wild charge that he can use too to kind of pop them up. And on the side, I feel like on the side of FLUX, when it comes to some of these Lord fights, that's one of the things that they didn't factor is being able to protect Tenzi or being able to offset NIGHTMARE Esports when it comes to a lot of these fights. Because I want to say, you can still see NIGHTMARE Esports, they're not really looking for a fight. They're coming in, they're grabbing some of these Lords, and they're grabbing some of these objectives, and then they're kind of backing off unless they have a real big advantage. You can see here now them starting to step up. The Lord at about 10% down. We've already started healing Apex right now, or Apex is already starting to heal. We do have Rosa giving vision, letting them know where the rest of them are on the map, and you're going to see as soon as this Lord starts to get low, the rest of the team's going to come in and try to give Lexi an opportunity. From the back, you can see Kami standing up front, and the Lord has already been reset. And now the rest of NIGHTMARE Esports, you can see Kami goes down to the bottom trying to get his stacks, and the rest of the team starting to split up a bit.
Taking some HP back, Kami, after losing a lot of his HP, and giving and providing vision from Jasmine is just remarkable. Team FLUX Esports cannot go into that Lord fight. They are just not prepared, and what's really just like roaming around my head right now, Susol didn't steal any ultimate from FLUX Esports. So what are they actually planning on? Maybe they will go on the opposite side of the lane. Claude is the only person, or like the only marksman who's allowed to go and split bush, but here FLUX goes, and Jasmine giving a lot of vision.
Yeah, Jasmine does land the wild charge there. Pops up too. Blessing of the Moon Goddess is out, healing up the rest of the team. Sunshine able to find a kill onto Sisol. This actually might be the advantage that FLUX needed before this Lord fight. Out comes the vision from Rosa. They're trying to hunt down Lexi. You can see the zigzags out there, and doing a great job of protecting him is NIGHTMARE Esports. So they're able to get back, but this is a Lord fight that might be going to FLUX.
Leaving the split bushing, or like the opposite laning clearance, causes NIGHTMARE Esports the loss of the first inhibitor turrets due to minions. Minions clearance, ladies and gentlemen, was better from the side of FLUX Esports, taking that Lord, and for the first time, and also, and this is funny actually to say, Tennessee didn't even have the retribution this time. So I'm not gonna say Tennessee won a retribution battle, even retributed this Lord. He just took the Lord without any kind of contesting from on the side of Nightmare Esports. The Lord is marching from the top lane, and I think that it is so dangerous to defend this Lord, especially with having the Estes on the opposite side of the map. Suso must do something. Maybe that thing is to steal the Estes ultimate.
Oh, we can see right here, they're starting to put the pressure onto Nightmare Esports. Tenzi up front, taking all the damage. Not too far off behind him is Apex, trying to give off a lot of that healing. Luminous Lord up at the top. You can see the rest of Nightmare Esports trying to contend with it to burst it down. Now, that last fight, they did something different. FireFlux realized what they don't want is a 50-50 shot here because they cannot compete. We do have a flicker with the final slash. In comes the blazing duet. Kami gonna put the finishing touches. Jasmine goes down. Alien is down. It is a 1-for-1 right now as they are continuing. Sunshine finds a kill onto Lexi. Tenzi up in the front, still trying to take the damage. You can see Apex comfortably behind him with those heals. And this might be the end for Nightmare Esports if they can continue on this pressure. More minions charging up at mid. Sunshine comes in, looking for some damage. We're starting to get onto the core. Half health, down to about a third, 10%. This might be it. Nightmare Esports trying to push back. Rosa finds a kill onto the marksman, and this is game. FireFlux Esports come back with a game. This is going to be game 1 for them.
This is a really interesting game of going back and forth between giant teams, and in this final touch, it just needed a perfect finish for such a fairy tale.